Hey, beautiful people, this is Aisha with Like Love and Lessons. I hope you're doing well. We're going to get straight into today's podcast because something just came up, and it's funny because you hear things or you think about things, and then sometimes things come right back around to help you to explore them. And this morning I was having a conversation with a friend of mine, and the word potential came up. And so, just a little context, as I've stated before, I am, in the process of in the dating world, and you know, right now getting a little bit more, serious, or at least in my mind, about finding a significant other, or at least somebody that, see, and here goes that word. I was almost about to use it, a potential mate. But finding somebody that I would, want to take things a little bit more seriously with beyond just dating. And the question that came up was, is there no one with potential? So I said, you know what I like to do, because, I'm a big word person. I like to look up things, and because I have an understanding of what the word potential means. But I said, let me just look up and see what the dictionary says potential is. So, according to the dictionary, potential is having or showing the capacity to become or develop into something in the future. Another definition is latent qualities or abilities that may be developed and lead to future success or usefulness. Now, all of those things are great if you can find someone that has potential. However, the problem that becomes is, what are you doing with the qualities or the personality or the actions of yourself that transforms you from just a potential to an existence? Because the opposite of potential is existent. The antonym of potential is reality, is what you are, is what you are doing, is what you are existing as. Anything can have potential, as I told my friend this morning. A rock has potential. It has the potential to cause harm. It has the potential to be an item of decoration. It has the potential to cause waves in a pond. But if that rock stays on the side of the road, if that rock stays on a shelf, if you will, and is not doing what it is destined to do, then it remains as only potential, and it is not existent. It's not causing a ripple in a pond if it's not thrown in the pond. It's not as decor if you're not using it in that manner. It can't cause harm if you don't throw it or if it doesn't get stepped on. So potential really doesn't have any real weight until something is done with it and then is brought to existence. And the same thing goes for people and relationships. A lot of times we find people that we think have this great potential, and they do. They have either talents or traits or, personality characteristics that could make them a potentially great husband or a potentially great boyfriend, and vice versa for women. Some of us have the potential to be great mates and lovers and great moms and great employees, and it can, the whole gamut. And this is for human beings, period. Everybody has the potential for greatness, but people can also have a potential for negative also. The thing is whatever action needs to be had behind said potential, if it's not done, if it's not used, if it's not exercised, then it doesn't become something that happens in existence. So it's just basically stored energy. It's basically something that could be or may be, but that has not come to fruition. And so when we think about, I think a lot of times some of us, we hold on to what we think can be instead of going with what we see it is. I remember doing that, thinking that this person could be a great husband, this person could be a great father. And they had the absolute potential to do that. They could do that. They can be that. They may have been that. But it turns out that they didn't, because the actions behind what needed to make this come to fruition never materialized, never formed. It wasn't within that person at that time. And sometimes we hold on to things a lot longer, like rock in hand, holding on to it, and it's just stored up energy, potential, but it's not causing or affecting the change that is designed to, or is meant to, or that it even needs to do. And so then at what point do you drop the rock? At what point do you drop the relationship? At what point do you move on from people when you notice that the potential is just staying as just that, and it's not moving into the next plane of activity, which would be existence? Sometimes that's when we have to drop that dead weight. And sometimes the dead weight is ourselves holding on to the thought of what could be, what may be, what should be, what we want to be. And if it's not the reality of the situation, if it's a matter of that the person is just not there yet, if the person is not willing to be there, if the person doesn't want to be there, maybe the situation is not ready for that person. I think about myself, like right now, I'm like, it would be nice to have a mate. However, there are things that I need to do for me and my family first that warrants more attention and more energy. I'm currently looking for a new residence. So as much as I would love to have, a mate or a companion or whatever, right now it's just not ideal because I have other bigger things to do that are more pressing than being and thinking about being in a relationship. So my energy needs to be focused on what I need to have. And I know, for those of us who are, spiritual, whatever you want to call it, sometimes things come in and they form as roadblocks so that we can focus on the things that we need to be focused on. And that's been mine. It's like, I know that that's kind of like in the back of my mind. It's, well, no, let me not lie. It's not in the back of my mind. It's in the forefront of my mind. It's something that I would like to see happen for myself. But I also know even further to the forefront of my mind is securing a residence for my family, for my kids, so we have a place of safety and respite. And so until that comes, other things won't fall into place for me. And I recognize that. And so I tell myself, you know what? You got to take the chill pill. You got to relax, because it's not going to happen for you in the way that you want, because things are not lined up the way that they should be. And so once again, you get back to, putting things into order. And I think a lot of this is about order. A lot of this is about balance. I mean, that's what life is really all about. Balancing things, putting things into their rightful order. So when we talk about balancing, or even prioritizing people and things and stuff that we need to get done, it really is important that we think about what it is that we need to do. They talk about having your ducks lined up in a row, and it leads to better order. When you have things organized, you can get to from point A to point B a lot easier, because you know exactly what it is that you need to do. And even when roadblocks come in, you can kind of dodge around them. You can maneuver because this is what you need to do. And sometimes, even in the maneuvering, you can step outside of that path a little bit and get back on it. Or sometimes you have to change the path up. And that could be through your thinking, that could be through your actions, that could be through holding on to things that are forming roadblocks for you, like holding on to somebody that is a potential and not a reality. So that's the word that I wanted to give today. Talking about potential. And I think that, it's nice to be able to read potential into people. It's nice to be able to see the good in people, or see the positive in people, or even see that people can be something that's they, may not even see within themselves, that they may be a good this or a good that, or maybe successful at this or that. But I think, potential, with potential also comes responsibility too. We all have the potential to be great. We all have the potential to do good. But just as much as we have the potential to do good and to be great, the opposite could be true as well. It's just a matter of what path do you choose. How are things culminating to get you to that greatness? How are things culminating to get you on that path to where you can be a success, to where you can have excellence? There's a promise of it, and I think that's what potential really is a lot about. Is about a supposed promise, but potential doesn't mean that it is a reality. And I think that's the greatest lesson in this, is that you can have the potential, but doesn't mean that it will be. It's the action, it's the dedication, it's the thought process, it's the planning, it's the organization. All of those things are what goes into going from just having a potential to having a reality. And that's, I mean, if you think about it, this is like, if that's not a life lesson right there, I don't know what is. Because that you can see, and not only in relationships, you can see that in, people's success stories, right? Like, you might have the potential to be a great musician, but if you don't practice, if you don't study, if you don't even get comfortable being in front of people, if that's the thing for you, all of these things will have the potential to not cause what you want to happen to be a reality. And so potential has to have something else driving behind it in order for it to become a reality. So I love you guys. I thank you guys for listening. Just wanted to drop that little jewel right there at your feet. Do with it what you will. But hopefully it means something to somebody somewhere. I love you guys, and I thank you guys for listening. Have a great day.